So, what I'm talking about today is about how to have powerful conversations with your advisory clients and with your compliance clients. So, hopefully, you can get them to take on advisory. If you would like to find out more about what I'm talking about today, go and listen to episode 19 of the Business Advisor podcast, because I also cover it in that. So just go onto Spotify or onto Apple or any podcast that podcast platform you like to listen to, and just go and listen to episode 19 where I cover it again. You can also grab yourself a copy of the Business Advisor Playbook by going to the Business Advisor Academy and downloading that. And if you would like to find out about how to work with me, send me a message on LinkedIn and say, hey, Amanda, I'd like to find out more about how you help us become world-class business advisors. Or you can, I'm going to put a link at the end of today so you can book a call with me. That's absolutely fine. So before I dive in, what I would like to do is actually define the word advisor. Now, when you Google or look up the word advisor, what comes up is a person who gives advice in a particular field. When I have accountants and bookkeepers and CFOs come to me, they don't actually know what an advisor does. So I would love for you to just comment in the chat box and just say, what do you think an advisor does? What is it that you think an advisor does? This is the traditional definition. What is it that you think an advisor does? So whilst you're doing that, I would like to just see who we've got. Oh, we've got loads of people. Hey, Anne, how are you? Erica, good to see you. Just looking at some newbies that have arrived. Susan, good to see you. Terry, good to see you too, dude. Right. What is it and that an advisor actually is? Because I think what that word in itself doesn't actually define what it is that you guys do. So I think that there's a misconception, and many believe an advisor's main role is to provide answers or solutions. But actually, advising encompasses so much more. Here, Terry has said, adds value to the client proposition and wealth. I think it's actually about guiding and facilitating and empowering clients to make their own informed decisions. So the way that we add value is actually helping our clients to teach themselves how to fish, right? So what we do when we give answers to people is we give them a fish, right? When we step into a business advisor role using the framework that I'm sharing today, we teach our clients to fish for themselves. And what that does is actually gives you an opportunity to not be responsible for the outcome that they have for their business. And this stops a lot of advisors, a lot of accountants stepping into the advisory role because you worry that you're going to be responsible for that business. But when we reframe how we have those advisory conversations, we can actually get our own clients to be responsible for their own outcomes. So it's guiding, facilitating, and empowering clients to make their own informed decisions. Now, what I'm sharing with you today is one way to hold an advisory session. It's not the only way, and it shouldn't be the only way. When we hold an advisory session, sometimes we're going to use this methodology. Sometimes we're going to be talking about the past. We're going to be looking at management reports. We're going to be looking at last year when we do the year end. That's still advisory where you are looking at the past because you're giving advice on past numbers. But there are also other ways to hold advisory sessions. Some can be goal setting sessions where maybe you're sitting with someone for a day and helping them map out everything that they want in their entire lives, right? And that could be classed as advisory. Sometimes it can be going through a spreadsheet or helping them through pricing decisions, right? Isabel says, an advisor is someone that gives a client relevant information and data to allow them to make their own decisions on what suits them best. Yes, the problem that we have, Isabel, is that most clients don't know how to make their own decisions. So what I'm going to share with you today, and I didn't set you up with this, and I think that's a really good answer, because what I'm going to share with you today is an enable you to actually get them to make their own decisions on what suits them best, but actually guide them so that they can. Because if I said to you, what's the best decision for you right now to grow your business? You'd be like, oh, I don't actually know the answer to that. There's so many options. So I'm going to show you the framework so that you can absolutely help them do that. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is looking at how an advisor is less about handing out advice and more about opening the doors for your clients to find their own solutions, which is kind of what you've said, Isabel. All right, so there's a few fears around aspiring advisors and also around old advisors, right? People who've been doing this for a long time. First of all, we've got fear of inexperience. So one of the things that you worry about is that you haven't done enough in your own business to advise others. And this has happened many times. I've taken on clients and they've said to me, oh, but I don't have the multi-million-pound business, or I haven't grown an exit, even though I can help other businesses exit. And I understand that completely. Sometimes you feel like you have lack of knowledge. So you're concerned that you don't know enough to be effective and make a difference to clients' businesses. And sometimes you're scared of giving the wrong advice. And I think this one is probably the biggest one. And we're afraid of leading somebody on with our advice in the wrong direction. This comes a lot through when you have imposter syndrome. So some of you will be like, oh, who am I to advise? Why can I advise? And that comes out as imposter syndrome. And that then tends to be the root cause, is that you have fear of giving the wrong advice, which means that actually you really care about your clients, which means that actually it makes you a brilliant advisor. So it kind of closes that loop. But these are some of the fears of aspiring advisors. Now, they're common and they're not insurmountable. Like I go through this as well. I worry that I have not ever run an accounting firm. However, I've helped over 800 of you now. So I probably have more overview of how to run an accounting firm than people who have run one accounting firm. However, I still worry that I'm inexperienced, right? Lack of knowledge. I'm always worrying that I don't know enough. But there are some things that you can do, and I'm going to share them with you today to help you believe and see that you do have a lot of knowledge. And then the wrong advice, as I said, that's just you caring. Like, I'd be really worried if you didn't have fear about giving the wrong advice, because that would mean that you are ego-led rather than value and heart-led. All right. So as I say, recognizing them is the first step to overcoming them, or embracing them and doing it anyway. So let's tackle the fear of inexperience. So every expert was once a beginner, and every expert still probably feels like they are a beginner. New advisors bring innovative ideas. So the reason why I've had so much success in the accounting profession is because I haven't run an accounting firm. From the outside, I looked in and went, whoa, you guys are doing this really wrong. Let me help you fix that. If I'd run an accounting firm, I would have been taught to run it a certain way. But I came in and went, this doesn't make sense to me. So you as a new, inexperienced advisor working with firms that maybe you haven't worked with many times means that you're going to bring new ideas and see things in a different way. So let's look at tackling the fear of inexperience. You've got novice, competent, proficient, advanced, and expert. You can work your way through this, and it doesn't take you long. So at the novice stage, what happens is you're just starting out and you're learning the basics. And what you'll do is you'll have your first client session and you will understand the basic knowledge of what's going on in your client's business. You understand the core principles. Now, the great thing about this is you only become novice, or you only stick at novice, when you have your first client number one. So let me know in the chat box, how many of you have got at least one client? Okay. Hi, Lisa. How you doing? Good to see you. How many of you have got at least one client? Right, great. So you're not a novice because you've done your first client session, whether or not it's an advisory session or you've onboarded a compliance person, a compliance client, you already know that you have foundational knowledge and understand core principles of what happens in that business. Doesn't matter. You don't have to have an advisory client. You just need to have a client, because you see in front of and inside of your clients' businesses. So I know that if I can look at a zero profit and loss, or if I run a management report, I can translate that. You know that even if you don't have an advisory client, you're probably giving advisory away for free. Lisa, I would expect that you have bookkeeping clients. You call yourself a bookkeeper, but you're actually an advisor, because if you have conversations with your clients and give advice around the numbers, you've moved into advisory. The moment you stop doing things and you start using your voice, you have moved into advisory. Okay. Right. So you give it away. So you're not a novice. So a lot of you come to me, and Lisa, you missed the beginning bit where I talked about some of the things that stop you from feeling confident with advisory, is you see yourself as a novice, and you're not. Then we move into competent. And Lisa, I would say that you're competent. And those of you who have one or two clients, you are competent. So you understand the ins and outs of how a business works. You understand the profit and loss. You've done the training. right? Even if you haven't had a client, you've done the case studies when you were training for your CPA exams or your your bookkeeping exams, your ICB, all of that. You have done the training. So you're able to handle standard advisory scenarios without guidance. So take out the word advisory and let me say you're able to explain the numbers without someone telling you how to explain the numbers. This means that you're competent at advisory. So you build confidence through experience, from learning, and from feedback. Yeah, right. You've been a bookkeeper for 49 years. You're definitely at competent stage of advisory. Then we go into proficient. And this is where we start to move a little bit more into understanding that actually, if someone asks us the question and we close our eyes, we could probably answer that question without even thinking about it. So this is where you start to feel more comfortable, and you can modify approaches based on context, and you can tend to do it quite quickly. So you can have a conversation and it's not, oh, let me look that up, I'll get back to you after the meeting. You go, oh, let me look that up and share it with you now. I know where it is and how to describe it. Now, from this, when you get to proficient, you start to get client success stories and create significant client impact. So what I want you to do when you are at the competent, between competent and proficient, is understand that your 49 years of bookkeeping probably mean you're already a great advisor. You just don't see it that way. So what we need to do is search for really good client success stories that turn around and go, do you know what? You really helped me with my business. Not that you got my VAT return in on time. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for, you have really helped me. You've really made a difference. Okay. Kirsty says, believe in myself that I know what I'm talking about is my issue. Absolutely. So Kirsty, what you haven't done here is you haven't uncovered your value, and you don't yet believe and see your value. And one of the things that I specialize in doing, probably the most important thing I specialize in doing, is helping my clients uncover their value so that they can then describe it in a productized methodology. So Kirsty, that's what it is. You're sitting on so much value, you just haven't unearthed it so you can see it in black and white. We like for example, where Lisa has been a bookkeeper for 49 years, she will have so much value, yet she'll keep selling the bookkeeping work, even though there is more to what she does, right? And the same probably for you too, Kirsty, okay? So what we have to do is start to go, actually, what is it that I know, uncover it and package it, put a name on it, make sure that it's trademarked so it's specific to you, and then you can start to believe in the value that you have. Lisa says, whenever I've advised a client for free, they didn't remain customers and they never acknowledged success they got as part of the advice received. So I'm going to come back to that when I finish the experience journey, and I'm going to answer that. All right. So then we've got the advanced stage, which in the advanced stage is about you having deep expertise and you start to feel recognized by your peers and clients as a knowledgeable advisor. The milestone for this is sought after for complex cases or providing training to less experienced advisors. Now, the advanced stage is something that you will find you could become if you start to help others, your peers, your friends, your family, and they start going, oh, wow, okay, I can learn from you. This is where you become kind of like a teacher. All right. And then you've got the expert stage. So this is where you become a leading authority in specific areas, and you have a set of standards, and you evolve the business that you work in and your businesses that you help. Okay. So I want to tackle what Lisa has said, and I think this is really important. People who pay attention. Now, this is a fun one. I'm kind of going to be nagging you a little bit, and I'm very sorry about that. But many of you have come to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, have listened to webinars, have listened to 50 episodes or more of the Business Advisor podcast, have read all of my books that I have written, okay? And you still haven't taken action on what I've said, because all of it has been for free. So Lisa, what you need to do is stop giving advisory away for free. What we do is we give advisory away in our marketing so that people can get to know, like, and trust us. And then we invite people to have a paid relationship with us. And that is what you need to change. Okay. So people who pay attention. They haven't paid you. They won't give you a case study. They won't give you a testimonial because they haven't seen the value, because you gave it to them for free. When you don't pay for something, yeah, they didn't value it. my best friend, right? I've been a business coach for 15 years. You can call me a business coach if you want. I like to call myself the practice minimalist, actually, because I like to take a business model and turn it into something that's kind of minimalism, but gives you great revenue with fewer clients, right? But my best friend, she's been running her business for 7 years. I've been coaching businesses for 15 years. I will spend on my phone. We message. She lives in Spain. We message each other every morning, and I'm like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what's happening in my day." And she'll be like, "I'm struggling with this," and I message her back and I give her advice. And I've been giving her advice for years and years and years. And does she take action? No. I then introduced her to my friend Amy, who is a business coach, and she pays Amy to give her the advice that I've given her, and she takes action on it. People who pay attention. All right, that's what we really need to understand. So your experience journey needs to be a paid experience journey. Now let's look at confronting the lack of knowledge. So when you feel like you don't know enough, we have to commit to learning as you go, not only before you decide to become an advisor. So you need to leverage tools, mentors, continuous education. So even coming along today, right, is confronting lack of knowledge. And that's really good. And I want to just acknowledge that you're absolutely making sure that you are kind of filling your brain with stuff so you build your confidence, because lack of knowledge makes you feel unconfident about moving forward with advisory. So knowledge also isn't static. You can grow your expertise as part of the journey. So I started working with accountants back in 2015, 2016. Now that's over 10 years. When I first started working with accountants, I used to specifically help you with marketing and sales. Now, that was great. I helped you create what I now call a monster business, which is hundreds of clients paying you a small amount of money. I taught all of you how to go out and get clients. I taught you the wrong thing. At the time, my knowledge was, as far as I was aware, was that you wanted more clients. By 2022, I realized I'd broken so many businesses and that there was a fundamental problem sitting underneath the fact that you weren't making the right revenue. And that was that you had the wrong business model. So my knowledge grew as I was teaching, as I was helping, as I was creating monster businesses for a lot of the accounting profession. And now what I know now is not the same as I knew 10 years ago. And I help firms in a very, very different way. So I grew my expertise and it was part of my journey. And whilst I did break a few businesses, I actually fixed what you asked me to fix, which was, hey, Amanda, I want more clients. But that actually wasn't what you wanted. And I didn't realize that until I'd spent a long time in the profession. All right. But we have to understand that knowledge isn't static and we have to just start. We have to start working with clients. So the way that we mitigate the risk of misguidance and making sure that we don't say the wrong thing is actually have a consultative approach. So what we do is we focus on asking questions that guide clients to make their own informed decisions, which is the whole point of today's webinar. All right, I'm going to be showing you how to do that, because it's okay to collaborate with peers or seek second opinions, and that will enable you then to get more confident. And actually, the second opinions that we create could be the opinions of your clients. Perfect advice doesn't exist, but thoughtful guidance does. And your role is to actually help your clients facilitate and navigate, as you said, navigate the choppy waters of entrepreneurship and not dictate what they should do. So a lot of my clients go through my leverage program. And then when we're a good fit, what happens is they move into my momentum program. Now, my momentum program is all about marketing and sales. So once you've productized and once you've got your advisory offer, you can then move into and learn how to do marketing and sales. Now, the thing with that is that there is so much marketing out there that you can do. You can do podcasts, you can write a book, you can have a YouTube channel, you can do Facebook ads. There's 1,000 different things. So my role is not to dictate what my clients should be doing in marketing and sales, is to help decide what is the best thing for them. And we take into account personality types, we take into account how much time they have, how big their team is, all of these things. And my role is to facilitate the marketing journey, not dictate the marketing journey. So there's a really good example there of how you can facilitate, not dictate, all right? Because they have so many different options and you have so many different options. So the true role of a business advisor, rather than providing answers, you spend your sessions listening and questioning. The most effective advisors facilitate their clients' thinking rather than direct it. This shift in your approach can dramatically enhance your effectiveness. Is this valuable, guys and girls? Let me know in the chat box. Is this making sense? Is this kind of taking some of the pressure off you? Hopefully it is. But getting some thumbs up there. Great, thank you. One thing that I know to be completely true is that it can be really scary when you feel responsible for the outcome of other people's businesses. And I've just had a new client join me in Leverage. She started last week, and we were talking about how we are often people pleasers. When we want to move into the role of advisor, that means that we want to help and we want to please people and we want to be liked and we want people to see that we care. This means that we're really scared about doing the wrong thing. So when we ask questions and guide, that takes us out of the responsibility role for saying the wrong thing. Okay. Yeah, right. So Lisa says, it reminds me of someone I spoke with yesterday about website marketing. He asked me questions which made me realize some things. Aha moments, right? Asking the right questions helps your client get clarity. So you would have had some aha moments, Lisa, and got clarity on that, which is great. So I'm going to share with you today the GROW model, which is how to run powerful advisory sessions. And as I said, this isn't the only framework that you use. You don't use this in every single advisory session, but you pull this out of your back belt when you're having a conversation with a client and maybe you're looking at setting some goals for the next 90 days. This is a really good time to use the GROW model. So it's very simple, very powerful. I did not invent it before anyone says like, hey, Amanda, I've seen this before. It's like, yeah, no, I didn't invent it. The GROW model is a well-used and well-documented business coaching and actually personal coaching framework. But I use it when I have group coaching calls, when I have one-on-one coaching calls, and when I am stepping into the role of advisor, when I'm stepping into the role of parent, when I'm stepping into the role of friend. I will use this model, this framework to have conversations with people to help people make decisions. So here's the other thing as well, is those of you who don't yet have advisory clients, you can use this methodology and practice it until you're confident enough to start charging for it. Now, you don't have to practice it with your clients. You can practice it with your friends and family and your children. All right. It helps guide conversations in a way that promotes clear thinking and practical action. And it works because it's structured, but it's also very flexible. And it can be adapted to your clients, but also help them have a clear path towards achieving their objectives. It's a brilliant tool, but as I said, it's also not only used for coaching, really good for goal-orientated dialogue. So Lisa, when if I was selling you a website and talking to you about your website, I would use this GROW methodology to help you decide on exactly what you wanted on your website. So as I'm going through it, guys and girls, think of something that you would like to achieve, a goal that you would like to achieve, and start self-coaching yourself to come up with an answer of what the actions you can take are to actually have this success. So let me just have a look at some of these questions. What would I do when a client asks me about his P&L and what they can do? How do I approach the switch to advisory and charge for that? I'm going to come back to that question. I am going to come back to that. What I would like you to do, please, Lisa, is remind me at the end of here to come back to that question. Okay. Isabel considers herself a consultant for many years and agree with everything that I'm saying, as I do not tell them exactly what they have to do. Yeah, absolutely. Great, Lisa, because that question takes me off track from this, but I will show you and close that loop with you. All right. So goal, set yourself a destination. So I'd like you to self-coach yourself right now. Okay. Then we're going to look at your current situation, your reality, the options that are open to you, and then what is a course that you are going to choose and sail forward. So it's just basically get yourself a big map, decide where you're going, look at where you are now, look at the possible routes that you can take, and let's choose a course to enable you to achieve that. Okay. So this is how you coach your clients into action. Now, the reason why we call it coaching is because it enables you to develop trust with your clients. It enables your clients to develop trust with you. It enables them to feel heard. If we dictate what to do, think about, for those of you who are parents, think about how successful it is when you tell your children to do something, as opposed to having a conversation to try and guide them to take action. Okay, so they want to feel heard. They've got something to say. If you tell them what to do, they won't feel heard. We need to teach clients to fish. As I said, teach them to fish, not give them the fish. They need to make their own decisions. They're grown-ups. These people are running businesses. They don't need to be told what to do. They might feel nervous and they might feel that they are scared to grow their business and make decisions and move it forward. But one of the things that I talk about in my new book is the knowing doing gap. And the knowing doing gap is people know they need to take action, but taking that action is really hard. So why we coach them is because we need to help them achieve a few things. We need to help them believe in themselves and believe in what we've got to say. We have to give them grounded hope that it's going to work. We have to give them accountability with care. Okay. And they need to borrow belief from you that they've done it before. But when we put these things in place, they're going to go from knowing, making their own decisions and taking action. Okay. And then they have to be accountable. So your role as the coach is to be interested, not interesting. I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's really true. If you're looking for a husband or a wife or just a partner of any kind, just be interested in that person in front of you, not interesting. The more questions you ask, the better prospect you will be for that person. Meet people where they're at. So don't over coach them, over give them information. Open up and funnel ideas and get commitment that they're going to take action. All right. So goal is a clearly defined endpoint. So this is where you're going to work with your clients to pinpoint exactly what they're aiming for. So actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use Lisa's question. And I'm going to say, Lisa, your goal is to be able to offer advisory. When someone asks you a question about the P&L, your goal is to be able to turn that into an advisory session, okay? Or be able to turn around and go, actually, that is coaching and I need to show you how that works. All right, so that's your goal, Lisa. All of you come up with an idea. You can share it with me if you want to. Alternatively, okay, you're going to also said you want an advisory client by the end of the year. Maybe we'll do that one, right? Your goal is to have an advisory client by the end of the year. All right. So what specific financial goals are you aiming to achieve this quarter? Could be a question you could ask your clients. Describe the financial milestones you want to reach by the end of this year. What is one immediate financial change you would like to implement? So what I would say to you, Lisa, is be more specific with what it is that you want. You want one advisory client by the end of the year. So then what we're going to do is we want one advisory client by the end of the year. We need to be more specific. So it's how much are they paying you? Are they going to be working with you ongoing on subscription? Is it going to be a short 90-day term? What is it that you want to deliver in that advisory client session? Get clear on what that exactly looks like. Okay, that's really key. So for those of you who have got a goal, get really specific on exactly what that actually looks like. Because when you say one advisory client by the end of the year, or some of you will be like, I want another advisory client by the end of the year. Like, what does that even look like? Oh, I want an advice. If you don't know what it is that you're actually aiming for, you're not going to be able to achieve it. Okay. Then we look at the reality of the situation. So here is where you discuss where your client stands currently in the relation to their goals. It's about understanding their context, their challenges, and what they've already tried. It's completely essential for setting the stage for progress. So this is a question now to go back to Lisa, but I'm using what she wants to achieve as an example. And by the way, Lisa did not tell me this beforehand. We're winging this. All right. I am literally winging an advisory session. Okay. So what is your current financial position in relation to your set goals? So Lisa's already adjusted her goal just by me going deeper with that question. So Lisa said, maybe I should start with the goal of getting paid for advisory with my existing clients. Okay, so the reality is, with the goal is one new advisory client, the reality is we haven't even got an advisory client with current clients. We haven't implemented it with current clients. We haven't, financial challenges is we haven't charged for it. Okay, so this is how we're now getting Lisa super clear. Is this helpful for all of you? Is this example working? Can you please let me know in the chat box? I've really singled Lisa out. I'm so sorry. Yes, Suzanne. Great. Awesome. All right, then we've got the options and the obstacles. So Lisa, what are your options to upsell your current clients? All right, this is the brainstorming. I'd like all of you to help Lisa brainstorm about how she can upsell her current clients so that she can get one advisory client by the end of the year. So if there were no financial constraints, Lisa, what would be your ideal strategy to upsell your current compliance clients? Have you considered any alternative tools or investment opportunities to help you upsell your current compliance clients? And how can you transform what you're doing with your compliance clients into advisory? So sit down, think about that. All right, sit down, have a think about those things and whatever goal you guys and girls have got. So let's brainstorm some ideas. If there were no financial constraints about doing the compliance clients into advisory, she could give advisory away for free, right? If she didn't have to worry about money, she could take a compliance client and go, hey, I'd like to use you as a case study and deliver advisory with you. All right, not that language. It's not very transformational, but this is an idea, right? If there were no financial constraints, she could do that. Alternative financial tools. So what you could do is you could invest in a tool and you could say, hey, I've got this new tool to your current compliance clients. And you could say, I'd love to try it with you. Would you like an advisory session to go through this? At the end of it, we're going to be able to tell you exactly what your 13-week cash flow forecast is. And the investment is $99 for the session. That will give you the opportunity to offer advisory, get paid for it, and practice using a tool. Okay. And then how could you transform your financial challenges into growth opportunities? That would be having free advisory sessions to prospects rather than upselling current clients, I would say. I'm normally guided by my customers asking questions. It's not causative. So when you have a client come to you and say, hey, I've got these questions, you just need to turn around and go, that isn't included in our current agreement. You actually have engaged me to work on your compliance work. If you would like to have a discussion around advisory, then we could have that conversation. I could explain how that works. All right. So you just got to put it back. It's not your job to people please and give your advice away for free. Okay. That's included in our compliance work. You're not paying for advisory, but I'm very open to having that conversation with you. All right, Lisa. Okay. So think about your goals. Think about what your current reality is with those goals. Think about the questions that you can ask your clients and the questions that you can ask yourself. We can actually self-coach ourselves. So this morning I was sitting with Josh. He works with me, but he's also my son. He has a goal that he wants to achieve. And I said, right, I walked through the GROW method with him to come up with a plan. And the way that I said for him to help and self-coach himself is to actually journal in the morning. So I said to him, I want you to get your book out. I want you to write down what your goal is. I want you to write down your obstacles. I want you to write down exactly where you are and what your current reality is. And then we're going to look at your options moving forward. And that's all about self-coaching. All right. Now, we're going to do it subtly with our clients. So they're not going to go, oh, they're using the GROW model. I can do it myself. We're going to just use this to guide our advisory conversations. And then we move the will do and the way forward. So we're going to determine a way for people to take action. This is where the decisions are made. So your client's going to choose the options to actually commit to something so that they take the action and get the results. So Lisa, out of everything that we have gone through, and I know I've gone really fast and I would never normally go this fast, except that we're using you as an example and I'm doing a webinar. But with everything we've gone through, your goal is to get one advisory client, preferably from your current compliance clients, right? Your options are give it away for free, sell it cheaply, or tell them when they ask a question that that is an advisory offer and would they like to have a conversation. Which one of those do you think you're going to action? Because they were your options. Which one of those? Third one. Great, super. So you came to today's webinar, Lisa, going, I want to do advisory. My clients don't pay for advisory. I want to get an advisory client. I've got no idea what I'm doing. You now know and have a plan. Agree? On a scale of 1 to 10, how useful has that been, with 10 being useful? Let me know. Have a think. You won't offend me if it's only a 4. I'll just cry a little bit. So let me know. And for everybody else, on a scale of 1 to 10, that example, how useful was it for you? And let me know, all of you, let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how useful was it for you to see that that is a really simple way to have a conversation and help people get clarity. 10, says Isabel. Great. Awesome. So good. Okay. So good. 10. Brilliant. 8, says Greece. So Greece, what would make it a 10? David says 9, right? So where you're like, some of you, when you're at a 9, that's because you're conservative, because you're accountants and bookkeepers and CFOs. Some of you are like, actually, I feel like I just need this extra bit. So what would make it a 10, right? So yeah. Now that is so easy to do. I've done it super fast, and I'm not actually looking at Lisa. Lisa, I feel like I know you. Have we met before? I definitely recognize your name. You've definitely hung out with me before. I'm sure we have. But I feel like that was really easy for me to do. Yeah, we have. That's what I thought. So that was very quick 10-minute example. So you can do this longer. It can take an hour. My favorite way to do it is to sit with someone face to face and do it, have a really big A3 piece of paper, big marker pens, and help them work through this. You'll have the grow model in your head, and you can then sit down and help them work through it. You don't have to say, now let's work on your goals. Now let's look at the obstacles and write out grow. You don't have to do that, but you can use it to guide your conversation. And it's just an advisory framework. And at the end of it, I haven't told Lisa what to do. She's made that decision herself. I've helped her come up with ideas. I'd spend longer on the options, like those were the first 3 ideas that I came up with, but I'd spend longer on them. I might throw in some ideas. I would want Lisa to throw in some ideas as well. So if I was sat opposite Lisa, I'd be like, come on. And I'd sit even for 10 minutes in silence, probing and asking her questions, how to actually get her thinking for herself, because we're teaching people to fish. We're not giving them the fish. All right. That was a very quick example. So way forward questions that you could use are from the options we've discussed. Which one do you feel most confident about pursuing? That's what I said to Lisa, wasn't it? Out of those, which one do you want to do? Outline the immediate actions you're going to take to begin the financial strategy. So you're going to work finances. I would like Lisa, I'd like you to write down exactly what I've said, use that, pin it onto these are the steps, pin it onto your computer. So next time you're having a conversation with a client, you've got that wording there and you remember to use it. No worries, David. Nice to speak to you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to executing this plan? Lisa, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you? And then there's some other questions. 10, great. So we've just solved a big problem in your business. The fact that your clients are asking you questions and you're giving it away for free. Now you know how to shut them down and tell them that you are going to charge for it. All right. So from everybody, gosh, I whizzed through that. What has been an aha moment or an action that you can take from today? That was a whirlwind of some training.